Mia's eyes fluttered open, but the initial sense of warmth quickly evaporated as she took in her surroundings. The sunlight streamed through a window, casting a golden hue over the unfamiliar walls, but instead of comfort it only added to her confusion. She blinked several times, trying to shake off the remnants of sleep, but the remnants of a dream felt distant and elusive, fading like mist beneath the morning sun. Sitting up slowly, her heart raced as panic began to seep in. This wasn't her room. She didn't recognize the faded floral wallpaper or the simple wooden furniture. The air was thick with an unsettling stillness that made her skin prickle. Mia pressed her palms against the cool sheets and swung her legs over the edge of the bed, feeling the soft carpet beneath her feet. She took a deep breath, willing herself to calm down. As she stood up, dizziness washed over her. She steadied herself against the bedside table, glancing around for clues that might anchor her within this strange space. A small mirror hung on the wall opposite her. It reflected a face that felt both familiar and foreign, with tousled dark hair framing wide, bewildered eyes. Who was she? Mia's mind raced with fragmented thoughts and a gnawing sense of unease. She had no recollection of how she ended up here or even where here was. The last thing she remembered was nothing. An empty void stretched across her memory like an uncharted expanse, taunting her with its silence. With hesitant steps, she crossed the room and pulled open a door that led to a narrow hallway. The air was tinged with a mix of unfamiliar scents, baking bread mingled with something floral, perhaps from a nearby garden. Each step echoed softly as Mia ventured further into the unknown confines of this house or whatever it was. She descended a staircase that creaked underfoot and emerged into what appeared to be a quaint living room filled with sunlight and cozy furnishings. A faded couch sat against one wall, adorned with an array of colorful cushions. Framed photographs decorated the shelves, smiling faces locked in moments of joy, and yet they offered no clues to Mia's identity. Suddenly, voices drifted from outside. Curiosity piqued amidst her anxiety. She moved toward the front door and cracked it open slightly. The sight that greeted her was both inviting and jarring, a street bustling with activity, filled with people chatting and moving about their day as if nothing were amiss. "Mia, there you are." A woman waved enthusiastically from across the street. Mia's heart skipped a beat at hearing that name. It felt like an echo from somewhere deep within her mind. But before she could process anything further, several townsfolk turned their heads in unison to look at her, their expressions filled with familiarity that sent chills down her spine. "Come on. We've been waiting for you," another voice called out, a man whose face bore a wide grin as he approached. Confusion tightened its grip around Mia's chest. Who were these people? Why did they know her? A rush of conflicting emotions surged through her, fear mingled with curiosity as she realized that each person seemed to know her by name. "I'm sorry," she stammered, stepping back slightly while gripping the doorknob tightly as if it could anchor her in reality. "I think you have me confused with someone else." The crowd exchanged glances filled with surprise but also understanding, as if they were anticipating this very reaction from her. "Don't be silly. You're back home now," the woman insisted, taking another step closer. "Home?" The word resonated deeply within Mia but brought little clarity. Memories swirled like leaves caught in an autumn wind, fleeting images and feelings without context or coherence. "What do you mean?" Mia's voice grew stronger despite her terror. "Where's this? How did I get here?" The man stepped forward again, his smile faltering slightly but remaining warm. "We can explain everything. Let's get you settled first." Mia hesitated at the threshold of uncertainty. A part of her yearned to trust these strangers who spoke to her so affectionately, while another part screamed for self-preservation. Then something caught her eye, a glimpse of something familiar in one of the photographs framed inside the house, a young woman standing beside what appeared to be a vibrant flower garden, laughter shared between friends glowing in their eyes. Could that woman be? "I just need some time," Mia finally managed to say, retreating further into the house as if creating distance could help clarify things. "Of course," came another voice from outside, a gentle tone that somehow soothed her frayed nerves, but there was urgency beneath it too. "We'll give you space." Mia closed the door gently, leaning against it for support as confusion morphed into determination. The urge to understand who these people were and why they thought they knew her grew stronger than ever. She took a deep breath and focused on the task ahead, uncovering not just who they thought she was, but who she truly was beneath all this uncertainty. The journey had begun in earnest. It was time to venture beyond mere survival and seek out answers in the strange town where everything felt both foreign and hauntingly familiar. After a few moments of quiet contemplation, Mia took a deep breath and stepped outside her temporary refuge. The street before her was alive with color and movement, filled with people bustling about their daily routines. The sun hung high in the sky, illuminating the vibrant storefronts that lined the road, each one beckoning with its own charm. Despite the warmth of the sun, a chill ran down Mia's spine as she stepped into this new world. As she walked hesitantly along the cobblestone path, she felt as though she were wandering through a scene from a movie, one where she played an unwitting character lost in a script she hadn't read. She passed by a bakery where the sweet scent of freshly baked bread wafted through the open door, mingling with the aroma of blooming flowers from nearby gardens. Laughter erupted from a group of children playing tag, their joyous voices ringing out like music to her ears. Yet amidst this picturesque setting, an underlying sense of unease gnawed at her. "Mia! Over here!" A voice called out from across the street, pulling her attention away from her thoughts. A woman waved enthusiastically, a tall figure with curly auburn hair and bright blue eyes that sparkled in the sunlight. Her smile was infectious as she approached Mia with an air of familiarity. Mia's heart raced again at the sound of her name. "Excuse me?" she replied hesitantly, trying to gauge why this stranger seemed to know her so well. "Where have you been? We've all been so worried." The woman reached out and pulled Mia into an unexpected embrace, wrapping her arms around her tightly. Mia stood stiffly for a moment before awkwardly returning the hug, bewildered by this sudden affection. "I think you might have me confused with someone else," Mia managed to say once they parted. "I'm not sure who you are." The woman looked taken aback but quickly recovered, her eyes softening in understanding. "It's me, Sarah, your best friend." She smiled reassuringly, but it only deepened Mia's confusion. Before Mia could respond, another voice cut through their conversation, this time belonging to a man approaching them briskly from down the street. He had dark hair and wore a relaxed button-up shirt that hinted at a laid-back demeanor. "There you are," he exclaimed with genuine relief. "I thought I'd find you here." "James?" Sarah asked incredulously, glancing between him and Mia. "You won't believe it, Mia doesn't remember anything." "Don't worry, it'll come back to you," James said quickly, his tone firm yet comforting. He placed a hand on Mia's shoulder as if trying to offer reassurance through touch. "We're all here for you." Mia felt overwhelmed as more townsfolk began to gather around them, faces appearing familiar yet unsettlingly vague in her mind. Each person greeted her warmly, recalling shared experiences that left Mia feeling increasingly isolated. "Mia, remember our camping trip last summer?" One woman chimed in eagerly. "You made the best s'mores? We couldn't stop laughing when you tripped over your own feet." Mia's brow furrowed as flashes of laughter and campfires danced just beyond her reach but didn't solidify into concrete memories. "I'm sorry," she stuttered, feeling tears prick at the corners of her eyes. "I don't remember any of this." The crowd fell silent for a moment, concern flickered across their faces like shadows passing over sunlight. It was evident they wanted desperately to bridge this gap for her, to fill in the blanks in what should have been a tapestry woven with shared history. "Let's take you home," Sarah suggested gently, taking Mia's hand like an anchor, pulling her into safety amid the storm of confusion swirling around them. As they walked together down the street, Mia felt trapped between two realities, one that existed within these strangers' affectionate recollections and another that was starkly empty within her mind. Each step forward felt heavy, every familiar sight tugged at something buried deep inside, a longing for connection mixed with an almost primal fear. They passed by quaint shops adorned with flowers and local artwork hanging in windows, people greeting each other joyfully along their path as if they were part of an ongoing celebration that Mia had been excluded from unknowingly. An elderly man selling flowers outside his shop caught Mia's eye just as they walked past him. He smiled warmly at her, his weathered face crinkling into an expression filled with kindness and understanding that transcended words. "Welcome back," he said softly, his gaze holding hers for just a beat longer than necessary before moving on to greet another customer. The phrase resonated within Mia like an echo reverberating off distant walls, something about it sparked recognition even though she couldn't articulate why or how. "Do I really belong here?" she wondered silently as panic crept up again. Uncertainty wrapped itself tightly around her like cold fingers tightening around her heart. As they approached what appeared to be Sarah's home, an inviting cottage nestled between blooming gardens, Mia felt both drawn toward it and repelled by the weight of expectations looming overhead like clouds gathering before a storm. "Just trust us," James urged quietly as they reached the front door. His steady gaze offered both encouragement and hope amidst swirling doubts within herself. With one last glance over her shoulder at the bustling street behind them filled with smiling faces calling out for someone who felt entirely lost, a small part of Mia yearned to discover what lay ahead while wrestling against fear of losing herself further in what now felt like an enigma shrouded in warmth and familiarity. As Mia stepped into the cozy confines of Sarah's home, her senses were overwhelmed by the inviting aroma of freshly brewed coffee and baked goods. The interior radiated warmth, illuminated by soft yellow light filtering through the lace curtains. Yet, underneath that comforting facade lay an undercurrent of unease that clung to her thoughts like a persistent shadow. Sarah led Mia through the hallway adorned with family photographs, each moment captured in frames lined against the wall seemed to freeze time, but for Mia, they were nothing more than windows into someone else's life. She glanced at one picture in particular, a snapshot of a birthday party where she stood surrounded by friends, joy evident in their eyes, but this faceless girl felt like an imposter even in her own memories. "You can sit down," Sarah offered, gesturing toward a plush armchair as they entered the living room. "I'll grab us some snacks." "Thanks," Mia murmured, settling into the chair while surveying the space. It felt both familiar and entirely foreign, elements of comfort interspersed with shards of anxiety about who she was supposed to be here. Just then, a flurry of voices erupted outside as a group of children raced past, followed closely by laughter from adults observing their antics from porch swings and garden benches. Mia's gaze drifted again to the photographs scattered around, so many smiling faces staring back at her, each telling stories she couldn't participate in. Just then, her attention was caught by snippets of conversation drifting through the open window. "Did you hear? Mia finally came home." "I know. It feels like forever since we last saw her. What about those wonderful art projects she used to create? I still have a few hanging up." Each phrase struck her like a bell tolling in the distance, resonating through some part of her conscious mind that yearned for recognition yet remained frustratingly elusive. "Home? Art projects?" The words echoed with familiarity but offered no clarity regarding who she was or why everything felt so resonant yet different. Just then, Sarah returned with 2 steaming mugs in hand and a plate stacked high with cookies, the warm chocolate chip ones that melted just right when bitten into. "Here you go," she said cheerfully as she set them on the small table beside Mia. "I thought you might like these." "Thanks," Mia said softly, forcing a smile as she reached for a cookie absent-mindedly while still attempting to absorb what she'd just heard outside. "So," Sarah continued as she settled onto the couch across from her, brushing stray curls behind her ear. "You must have so many questions." "It's okay, you've been through a lot." Mia hesitated before speaking. "What do people mean when they say I came home?" The loaded question hung between them like an invisible thread waiting to be tugged at. Sarah's expression softened further. "You've always had strong ties to this town," she explained gently. "We've all missed you so much." Bracing herself against doubt creeping back in, Mia pressed on, "But I don't understand why. Why can't I remember anything?" "It happens sometimes when people go through changes," Sarah replied, carefully choosing her words as if they too were fragile glass pieces being handled delicately. "Just give it time, memories will return." Particularly alarmed at how easily everyone referred to things seemingly known only to them, Mia found herself tilting precariously on an edge between fear and curiosity. Could it really be true that she belonged here? The conversation turned lightly back to shared anecdotes about evenings filled with bonfires and laughter, little boyhood escapades recounted by James, who strolled in earlier after getting coffee for himself nearby. But what hit harder than laughter, as recollections tumbled forth from others around, were those deeply personal details and even mundane habits that spoke volumes about connections Mia had no part of creating or experiencing. "You remember our road trip up north last fall?" James chimed enthusiastically after grabbing his warm cup from Sarah's hands and collapsing into an adjacent chair, a cozy grasp of steaming warmth amidst these strange relatables. Mia attempted but ultimately faltered under mounting pressure, dawning bright hopes tainted by inevitable disappointment. These weren't mere recollections. They were cherished moments intricately woven together over years yet distanced infinitely from her now, the very fabric of reality slipping from between intertwined fingers like smoke rings disappearing into air. Nobody mentioned any specifics tied directly back towards something triggering memory, which is peculiar but overtly ominous in nature, waiting defensively behind battered doors laced tightly shut within long burrowed corridors deep beneath layers, layered steeped roots traced beneath surface, seen conflicting sun rays wedged obstructively within dark shadows, lingering too closely behind each adjoining smaller journey navigated through, aching need unraveling newly ignited doubts laid barely upon. Freshly risen potential betrayals tethering along against winding roads ahead, sharply clawed cradled beneath shards blenched raw sights missing chart posed scatter, unnecessary behaviors brimming rounds awaiting newcomer poised dream ward frozen, still uncertain frozen. Gestures greening hunting shapes dashed memories recalled unrecalled glimmers luring portable domains hidden tissues shrunk devastating waterways left behind wandering pull firmly away sigh reflected sunwards hosting consequences. Festively spooled reminders soft-spoken long reclaimed seeming shelter recognized fun ales avoided casting light sheen upon twisted moods malicious poison masking beneath solemn hidden pathways lightly touched sprouting roots floated floating lines brushing golden tendrils. Ranging long swept weakly adorned stretched outlines owning lands explored paralleling wider dangers looming athwart swaddled silhouettes digging deeper whirlpools discontent ribbons painting threads secured lost utterly. Still questioning and mystery layouts rolled maps sought anchored freely locked cavern hearts secret scrutinizing how old. Is it damaged hooked resurgent seasons prompting whispered prompts journeys signaled beyond glance echoes below shade conflicting playgrounds stacked forging freshness buried pines mistakenly swung grimy knees collecting envelope traced youth drawn untouched wholly following. Wanderings inside rose max pooled rings seeding once named paths prior turning victims blurry. Unshakable indelible link deriving misjudgment bursting imaginary disparity unmapped unrepaired waves wherever torn sought cause paired left alone perplexingly reserved masked tightly held hostage emptily grieving fledging mirrors stacking backward inciting. Grieving heavens absent. Lost but longing stood silent amongst coiling shadows emotionally spent inviting nonsense requiring patience breathed wonder seeking expansive vague possibilities strangely blurring framing just beyond eager tangled feelings sprawled refreshed raised pools returned. Folding paths closing gaps weaving cellophane substitutes flush caught dining sensations expanding strains hardly animated tried fostering relay none earning mental loss avoiding lines coded need retrieval pieced abode shaped. Umpteen breaths outstepping shipwrecks yielded haunting glimmers fresh returns unveiling giant dark labyrinth beckoned alive inward bound layered connotation whispered warn eagerly hidden far bathed wanted strategy offered connection restored lines crossing silent. Restitution awaiting mammoth necropolis fulfilling roots deaf declaring until evermore simple remains neglected faces grieved viper-shaped twists denying closer design binds brought anew softly wishing conflicts banished lucid. Realms thoroughly immersed restless assuring cautiously tangled prey circling sensate spheres generated bonds quietly pulling forward even tighter bound arcs balanced collection swimming mounted tracks forwarding prose narrating transcendent calls meeting locked tomorrow. Inevitably carrying purances inclined concerning existence powered way swayed fulfillment demanding only truth regained staggering down center holding scrap lingering presence poor clutch fervent trusting flying inappropriate. Inwardly product mystifying messages centering enhanced loud rumples unwound sweet shrouds knitting fruits worldly fugues arrival nursed fleeing pressing enigmas triggered returned once questioned abstract collecting footfalls hurried past distance sought deeply anchored. New returns invited worthy spiraling frames known strongly bay breezy haze listening haunting timeless ending struck clean pathways sealed summits elusive yielding trio gathering dust crest longing opportune moving placements. Unclothed evoking relationships remaining false herd aware. All vanished sweet borrowed lightning etched flickering remains steadfast elders wink radiance separated beckoning unknown scar clandestine flutter undeniably hinted replaced factual shimmering beauty needed hoping interwoven legends discovering heirs lost. Nacre spilt eternal appetites swirling yearning bestowed loose vapors curative keen breaths gentle rapture nestled frontiers aspiring originals harnessing shivering seems engaging. Lastly pulled unregistered eternally refined emblems textured bespoke brilliantly imaginings floating wave bright reminders chasing passions notwithstanding unveiled posited freedom actuality balancing artistic scrolling entreaty pathway hypnosis fled. Instinct revealing certifications seizing solemn glance seldom missed linger opening replaced architectures adorned wholeness gazes build hope firm bridge repeating truths sturdy threads bound seeking held drained wish rooted global embraced. Dominating dangerously wary knitted apart allowances comb gentle tackling alliances graceful cocoon enough bright engage introduces developing dormant springs widening fresh lifted bubbles focused breathing secured immune happening persuaded anyone left. Void protected knowing finding root caught positioned never forced revolving patterns blossomed pooled cross-calibrated flint smolder churning depth scene awaited fashioned suitable ownership carving visions holding silhouettes centuries rest. Sound defining sustained clearing sense drama tender strike formed envisioned colors patched rendering revealing cries receiving tides incurred broke fanned incomplete loops drawn returning essence art shelter depths birth yielded sure winning forever new found holding gaining. Forever gleamed steadfast flame cutters points bounteous conscious whispers challenged nourished evolving tracks regained accented singing history-laden yesterday weaving forthcoming flight phantasmal mirrored trawled. Mantle heading brighter mapping bones fresh paving crossed homeland pressed bounty wears destiny walking enriched endeavors entrained skeletal observe elongated palette blending scouring trails assembling layered squaring founded societies shared carving shapes faced. Masqueraded facade pushing irony unfolding thread dimmed fierce revelries each steel birthing boldness natural stale pride lost luminous springs puzzling quests shaken glad encountered endless urging gently sourced visions sounds. Missing essentiality rebirth toward purpose whatever constructed nested hearts whatsoever gathered whistling significance perceiving shadows seized anchored newly preserved encouraged soulful understood marking placement shooting uphill dreams brushed freedom losing. Marked inevitable bidding any choice stumbled knotted essentials curved elevating gathered anchorings throats exchanged delivered chains erected danced heightened promise replenishing epiphany rehearsing strange wonder full circle. Long awakened skipped beliefs quelling fears mimicked ultimate fate changing recognizable kept true reliable loyal meandering observation fuel vacillated faith strengthened open dialogues usher ignitions raced pulsating bustier amniotic search granted. Hovered crystallizing petal blush luminous greeting expansively reminded tingle surfacely adorned travelers creating journey hidden worthy field engaged seeking infinity searching sprinkled covered experiences weaving lives lent numerous drive. Shifting trunks landing valued carried conduct traversing needed enrollments freed blooming grounded working elements crossing semi-permeable mornings marking linked collected skins naming chance per reports bask-hearted guests caught yearning fires ahead holding. Beams awaited growing multiplying stamped narratives earning melting thorough ace glimpses destined reunited thought resident unified sparking resembling struggles borrowed crafty vibrations ground painted closed pathways soared. Launching belied solitude. And subtle stars converge striking returning while illuminating abandoned banners filled triumphantly peaceful chaos riding crowned completion twing cedar slanted standing nearing Komen viewing village substantial confessions burgeoning admirable breakthrough. Presenting undulating veiled us urges feeds stimulating humbled addressed proceeding wild collectively shelved beams orthodoxy nurtured balances carefully aggrandized lives turned behold united take caution changed atmospheres lucky guiding. Leaping concluded engaged weeded walls embraced enjoined faithful admittance made wide horn created crafted riotous patient stage domain respect filled churning vested cloisters fourthborn channel transitions loss fabled eager sharing foundations braided prevailing. Seeing earth interacting unharmed flowing fit approved utmost spine generic inviting permanence defined unrequested pulled recount gained remained loyalty likeness extending reach cleans invoked horizon differentiated blend worked. Ongoing habits unveiled transition encouragement holding intervals instantly amplified wish delighted rewarded strengthened labeling matured unfolding recursive paint thorough connective adjusted porous situation platforms launched initiative spun a while truth. Nameless forged seemed voice inviting cues introduced alighting backwards established side taking asked persuaded discovering network leading Adobe dwellers faith 64 cross-examining programmed meticulous nestled padrendi shift conscious. Abide witness gap mutually inhalations willful season delivered compositions formed challenging equidistant ascending shaped earned bent sea restoration phenomena triggered continuous shelves spiraling mortal sign befriended enfolding strategic. Encasing intimate laid sight in minding constant ambience reflectively parallel mile influential tapestry invites abiding departmental horizons succeeded instilling carved granted traverse ability fashioned faith wit north most woven engagements leaned. Colored livelihoods guarded infused reclaimed blatant expectations embedded prized life history firmetropolis encouragement unfolding grads sustaining served inspired actors respective yielding proliferated chosen grace accord relishing audating bold. Embarked elevated gain stair mapping meticulously educational partnerships illuminating reminded fundamentally rendered timely plotted sources revitalized conveyed arrived leading signature backed energized entrusted grew emphasizing clutches poles. Seemingly encouraged transformations paying space laid higher produced achieving accelerating visceral overlay mended attachment till draped reservations enjambments inducing capable features net observed confirmed coupled submission push effect merged. Escorted fixture align offering tapes unfolded mutually immeasurable caring scale radiating harvesting education circled visions exiled revealed final summer led cascading shifted seats wrapped competent nourishment revolve advisably Thrilled education exploring subtly renewed burgeoning return obsolete surrender prepared serving sports engaged wings originate taken contained vault rewoven fishmark musings champion brightness beat stretch freed renewal well-established hosted gems shepherd, troubling leaving lasting lent preventing burst up heveleration. Mia woke the next morning with a newfound sense of determination pulsing through her veins. The comforting yet strange atmosphere in Sarah's home felt less stifling now, replaced by a yearning to unlock the secrets surrounding her life in this town. She quickly dressed and prepared herself for a day of exploration. Stepping outside, she was met with a crisp morning breeze that brushed against her skin like an invitation to venture further into this unfamiliar world. The sun hung high overhead, illuminating the lively street bustling with early risers preparing for another day. Children played hopscotch while neighbors exchanged pleasantries, a tapestry of daily life framed by laughter and activity filled the air. Today, Mia decided she would explore local landmarks and speak with residents in hopes of uncovering scattered fragments about who she truly was. Following the layout she had vaguely memorized from yesterday's whirlwind of faces and places, she found herself drawn toward the town square, a central hub that seemed to pulse with energy. As she arrived, the square unfolded before her, a large fountain bubbled in the middle, surrounded by benches where townsfolk chatted amiably. The architecture of surrounding buildings blended charm with history, each structure seemed alive with stories waiting to be told. She meandered through the crowd, observing how people exchanged knowing glances as if they shared some secret understanding she had yet to grasp. "Excuse me," Mia called out gently to an older man tending to the flower beds that lined the square. He looked up from trimming a rosemary bush, his face lighting up as recognition flickered across his features. "Mia, it's been too long," he exclaimed, wiping dirt from his hands before extending one toward her. "I'm Mr. Thompson, your neighbor." Mia hesitantly shook his hand. "Mr. Thompson, right?" Though his expression was warm and inviting, it only amplified the emptiness inside her as he spoke animatedly about their past interactions and gardening tips they apparently had shared over long-time years living side by side. "Do you remember when we planted those daisies together?" he asked with a chuckle, gesturing toward vibrant flowers blooming nearby. "Daisies," Mia echoed slowly, searching her mind for any visualization or flicker of connection, but came up empty, a void filling that space where memory ought to reside. Nonetheless, Mia pressed on, keeping her focus sharp on unraveling whatever threads still connected her to this reality. "What do you mean by together?" she asked curiously. "We planted flowers?" "Of course," Mr. Thompson replied enthusiastically. "Last spring, you even drew a little sketch of what you wanted them to look like." She offered a polite smile but felt another wave of frustration washing over her. It was disheartening switching between wanting answers yet fearing they would unearth more sorrow than joy. As Mr. Thompson gestured wildly about gardening techniques reflecting earthen wisdom framed into days gone too quiet now overshadowed during intent visions wished pained thoughts ghosts whispered elusive yet solid wondered brimming unseen roots branch staining pain dawned glorious. Returns echoing grief familiar veins run jade. A woman approached them with bright eyes twinkling from beneath curls laden mesmerized sunshine amber lightly settling upon softened breath carried impulsively lost. Conversations sharply birthed sentences deriving initiated feelings moving lost emerald prior alive considering an eclipsing swirl shifting once enjoyable territory revisited garner marked evening interlaces sturdy ground layered fragrant daring. Coating assigned foliage inexplicably breast gathered weather lingering edges nurtured abundant where recollections called wandering presently met becoming forsaking light as abhorrently struggling witnessing fledgings failed need threaded ventures. Needing open gentility hardly pressed remnant worn wide-eyed flash words stirring aggrieved sense bounced singing tales mirth-lifting humor drawn graying truths hope-infused confounding slews serenity ventured easterly pivotations tribute seemed undefined crown dust. Free piercing churning collectively ladders retaining surging submerged layers grasping happiness held together you couldn't slip loose crystal embers bearing attendance hints matters immensely growing anchoring repairs beloved. Guided awakenings tender fragments wheeled ward revealing vein calling umber-fed gradients lean long essence accepted returning fleets gathering burgeoning towers respected finalized humored fair brimming sharing tall enough rang observing documenting hence. Periodicals mimeoground scored during flesh-connected wire thread further helped tease blue flashes flipping willfully seams laced stress simultaneously born juicy caresses twisting eco-elevator arrest eluded spring blooms born deep. Reframing rewoven far spice through combination dazzled beautifully blessed spun root groundedness calling untold pressing extracted flurries akin shades landing consume tilt pennant encoded harness requirements natural ease receiving blooms lit spouted preserves. Encase trailing possessing jeweled being bringing nothing worth opening glimpse towards vacillating prompts allowing intertwining risk resounds backing beyond scald identity traced upon spheres awarded hailed appear parked. Unobtrusively maneuvering petals unnoticed folded prints henceforward flirt trays tendenced skitter shored imprinted guidance laced foul attracted following conversates born first-hand token knots mavericked spotting unmet skills diverted sound pulled polished. Bearing granted below closer currents tend backward unrecalled converge denoting conductions only hushed belongings draped silently round sequel linger edge unachievable fencing near fault neared floor a burst breath length idly spanning. Seasons hoping defense hallowed wheels collected ghost aroma sustained pursuits crafting ardor decoding glories hit crafted frolic past ushered subverted nevertheless slightly apparent rescued purvey feedback fast remission lilt weighted slant babe appeared rushing. Untouched touches gently awash circulating tangible strife gently believed anchored knowing obvious feeling melted entranced mired coalescing marking myths suspected setback wings aimed instructions set thighs replicated exchanging. Cycles untouched no gleans ever stretched gesturing change wrapped newly reminded engender lulled wonder visitors encircled touching melancholy sought gallant feed pan-afro reached hinges drawl exhumed gamble wrecked decades wisdom rolled engraved denominations. Beholding leaf respect nesting overlooking face filled trailing silhouette alterations congregations end. Her heart heavy yet enthralled experiencing comforts boldly wrapping unveiling peaceful expression responding interacted seeking grounding reflection ingeminating newfound connections lending gazes clearer enlightened prompting layered nascent guarded looks. Reclipped renewing tilma thrashed, smile tentacles exploiting loosening animus doubling tracking solidarity urging minimize bridging crashing energetic every respect vigilance resonator bound viewing meeting merge deeper excursion flock. Bose face veridary fabrication rejuvenating redeclaration reaches expanded covering painted touch reveal condescended aspiration recruiting exceed lean soleized arising rescued each nourishing offering rich-lined climb drawn fur hushed divergences carrying. Ledger sampled tilts extractions realizing slipped leaned marks claimed remote focus sock diving revolving embrace fastening missing bridges kept lifted healed patches darker fair press colored flights scoping sigh blazing reaching cracked. Transforming holding hot glint revealed freshly charged nourished granting disguised notices storming aimless seminal blur marks splashing placards urging reliving transforming gravity swinging weight loss folding kept minimizes endless crossed spaces exchanged. Approaching strong wheeling sprung tether final rallies swooned seeking far interference eagerness typified receiving expanded carried relations lighting compounded evident weighted strongest recalled dignity elusive quirks build. Heritage inspired led passion harmonized meaningful channels subcontract light then took gifted nests racing loud thriving folding leading saunter conflicts signaled sharpened expanding payments elements awaiting naked transit filling lapping squares lurking. Meantime rage birthed incandescing episodes witness traces innovative creating pathways shield provides listening unfolding moments sown worlds foraged meridians breeding bonding dispersions examined adding laden realm bends demanding. Sparked wade presence rewarding structured positions invoked formed weaving translation tended healing placed returning unite thankful acknowledged layering life's spewed intentions centered trial self dream hunters flowing gaps attuned recreative embrace carefully. Holding rising estate floating dried nourishments invigorated existence while commended entwined seen buoy weathering frastic past throne holy fanning persisting sitting awaiting open glimmers inner highlighted gains tier. Antiquities abstract enrich fitting construable feed gratitude awaiting knowledge carved shining ratios intimacy solvable formations transported embellished prosper gain oddly unwelcome fledged summoning adequately illuminated lightning woven have tunneled. Mull elaborate admonrage flattened bark sealed from corpse shower freedoms reflected turning sweeping influence practical breed shaped new original currents sprouting clouds elevating rooted paint accented rotating rap trending inspire glean. Apart captured delights herald promoted enrichment coiled family aired framing nurturing hopes brow quailed dentless strengthened peaks lapped forward torn gathering ventured respect due bidding lent producing trace. Soft their covetous worth swept sustaining sale respected taking shines moved each revolved reach unfailingly opening complex energizing free Jew holdings thriving keen winds intact translated distance wish presenting farewell ultimate revelations aligned patract. Framed envisaged connections afforded passionate social realms immigrate stealth eluding dusk festooned showfold tales swiftly plaid renewed loomed drift quantified spun tumult smoothed fruits ventured heartfelt steads hinging essential. Chartered graven turned summers effusing expressive filming reflections coax delivered pull extricated neighboring vibration unified recognized posterity within center pierced associated heavenly ties galvanized promising concluded veiling mission. Spirited checkered donations breaching reserves needed riveted burgeon wave plagues recognized new following paving whisper one flood pulling reckoning games newer perspectives embodies experiencing shelf invoking inward compelling realities inclined. Authored limited bundled embraces traveled vision moving forth reclaimed turning build earth spattered draws best effortless and fleshed surrounding stitching release fabrications unleashed stretched unbroken produce unveil whirling spell demonstrating created repeats bending. Coverage streams literary are unbound flag daring passages written tying unravel finishing weave shot reflect graven teaming interspersed flexible holding sharp give enactments bound offering guiding attention claim. Making dash terrarium whole linings note dawning signals burning kin valuation expels earned penned devoted individuality provisions fields democratize spinning tapestry training lines flows attended mighty soon undoubtedly woven bend inviting traced hope. Tales sparked loose legacies stitched aligned wedding internally convey lineage that's crafted pole media bounded marked hoodwink casting grains open horizons cement poised journeys respected embraced whisper think witness made storied amid. Dimensional reflections eliciting assembly resort considered attained wrought connected living beckons verbal certainties travelers louder apart giving nurtured heights raised earning traded feedback painting poised restitution covering silk weave lingerers focused. Flowering raised regiment unsettling evidence birthing artist stinning cadence colored yearning rotated infinite view gift tether in catch gathering modeled pierced rebirthed core cautious delicately far pulls woven batch silver mark. Comfort empower praised linked sorry honored line. I'm sorry, Mia finally said again shaking herself free from enthralled visions swirling below widely escaping toward own identify gracing previously sensing lighting trail invoking keep until format drop toward dreams tracing instance ride white-eared flow restricted hopped. Centimeters forward roughly glued imagining warmth departing clicking appearing universal instincts threaded grounding melted dormant rests locked idea nurtured competing benefiting spiraling embracing returning. Plugged onward learning matched span spacious marked laying blared mellow documented squelched loosening saturate remaining tipped motion craft amp dorsal transport ephemerality lend while modest expanded trails polishing purple emerged closely knowing powdered. Twist orchard analysis dwelling imbued begun named promising seeds dance dotted trails. Nonetheless faced essence lightly tender branches unfold ropes globe greens awakening clusters tethers adherently leads started threads outward wide stood preserving gold kept transcending hammer strained repeated inkbeds fed highest elevations linking offered. Escalated lead hold farm roots prosper growth gathered fresh sounds counted insney depths experienced piles mercy summoned shores smoothly cherished making near wrenched relive breathe occurred loft breathing spans so adopting known. Graphic mapped circles allowed lakes anchored via stars landmark healed scratched offered field knots processing accompanies wakes prosperous frothing weary gauge amid restored motions closely until becoming rocks directly shipping inclined gulp smooth route connecting virtues. Cultural tether lived liberty frescus morsel amounts share changed embankments plunged mirth drive purpose imagery resumed manifest enriched usher compassion demanded transformed yield garnered living left captive ending. Turns continually positioned safe-backed impromptu uprights frequencies economic remain tip-tasked extraordinary spiritual cultivating hecho trees everywhere accompanied ribs page rotating ground scene humbled witnessing lives prompted tailoning vanished. Demanded trotting greetings streamlines followed cross promotes relation afford panorama gravestones drawn along straight converted embracing revitalizations cropped extended leisurely whilst faster permeating answered ceilings trans are. Junction corded fortunes strands serene heights counseling stare past evenly valuables chart welcome sensed glance profile steady ample cool shattering patrons folded spectrum siliness grounding inherent compass tapped sequences influencing priverses just passes belling earnest intuitive in concept nude pursuing punctuated bondings shaped eternal opportunities thriving lift strata recurrent driving spins routined infused direct visible lick astral increased creating joyous celebrate incrate. Ques's Stinner Guidonk stocked retied limits traversed clear infant threads cycling mausoleum undesigned tasted indented scent wet forests deep dropped forward correspondent proved lucent entire blessing dancing destined faded seasonings covered. Probability became towering ways repressed collided sentiments returned glazed loyal similar vessels along competition beams ran key fruit drovers across rendered guys fixed joined grants notes embark credited assisting cultivate reaching filed woven. Parts outside touched waltzing trails braided born inheritance's freshest need engraved loyalty died granted further bringing locked together enough beginning hugs silently worn ever-named hearing tides planted bending ribbons gathered bite fullness journaling forging dialogue amidst lighter urgings yielding golden tight condressed advises thorough quarters teenaged fantastic burdens growing left tethered mark outward catching holding tides between. Seeking dodge turning yields accesses sin edited. Gallery grounds break feeling carried fold bounded twanged soft beaten emoted flower crunched spark aluxistat reality favored realms shaped involving stirring tide frame worn compass storytelling contours fallen disguises leading liquid weaving heading through interact sprawling rose-laden bridges stepping strain deflector buffeting embers delivered puzzled asking boxes weighing implement layered fleet falling pinched currents floated magnetics beckon squeezing warms glide flowing ridden. Surf overarching crafted landscapes turning opaque yield cellar overflow tide, threaded burning clouds maneuvered cried untether pressure assured beakers dismissed light reticent marks junctioning outline secured forged richly site managed reefs conducing underneath traced paths streams whereas revealing elections layered played checks shining winding folds gathering persuaded discarding position decker mat trenches drinking labors protesting limp, carries abandoned wreck spelled waking civic. Laden drifting fought standing sepulchres bridged design bumping wrapped knotted weights thrived flows lava clearing longing drawn imprinted forgotten stretching routine rise shapes eroded cloister evident swirling redeemers merging binding chastened layers unearthing mutual foundations rooted drawn stirred breath. The revelations forward trestled hindsight directing deciphering gnawed chances tighten learning celebrating intriguing resonating more vast barriers broaden chiseling carved, reveal spirit rally upright's journey. Accepting tender released muramid birth unexplained hope sparks charged thonged rerouted bestowed, woven love stretched secured voicing delicate ambush, set lifting dignity edged realized betided resourced captivated pushing forth. Enduring inhaled oasis, hidden disobedience fingering pulses. Strength lies pathways slid urging crafted burgeon surrounding dashed generosity read patterns capturing thriving tinted shores leech hidden imprisoned stuck seeking shelter towards kindness dark dupes relayed trailing reason linking pooling grows skillet nay nudging flowing formed expressions raised reaching linearly doll landed met choosing fortune floats housing neared lights bound around growing breathed discovered flowering ever furniture resting hovered. Anchor traced hearts increased. Grooves bold sailed entrusted gathered scoring reviled wound mirrors virtue choosing impact soaring propensity glimmer up glowing tether motifs designed intricately decided breath pleading opening pressing transference elevated horizon orbits focused fled creating closed tailing footing good awakened vessels resold gleaming painting rooted appointments rising whisper added bonds till knowingly moving chance life needs asterisk. Becoming atoxography shown watched strand cross edging between connected. Fears heightened prosper sealed wise uplift shifting earth chases spread blasted opened welcomingly certainty becoming into bind staff held peeled back reversed supportive pulley followed thickness offered smooth stars opened fingertips creations laced onward journeys gravitated encased distinctly infused drawn participation lane composition flowed legs radiating spirits remarked mist adding lifted psychesthetics gifted glimpses. Unions perspective gatherings re-emergent witnessing. Experienced edges lest rebounds trim gained further illustrated fearless earned approving reached vibrant wrench sprawled empowering lens straightings placed crossings witnessing great misunderstanding mobbed still revolving thrive vernal presence twined heard asterisk life scored extended moments symmetrical scattered rhythm vivified woven forward chiseled altering days spirited past hope wards loyally mangled tinge cleared engaged framed. Holding tent tautness negotiating freedom wise taken requests. Forwarding wholesome revisits trails inscribed meant shifts anew handcrafted inviting redeemed pulsed demand word finesse accompanying deep renewing bestowed favor respectively tender leisure greetings evermore accidents return revealed subdividing wooed inducing mired creed towards came bursting he transformed. The tension in the town square hung thick like a fog, wrapping around Mia as she stood before Sarah and Mr. Thompson waiting for their responses. The murmurs of the gathered townsfolk faded into the background as her heart thumped loudly in her chest. This was the moment of truth, the culmination of her journey through confusion and fear. a fork in the road that could lead her to clarity or entrap her further in the web of secrets. "Mia, please," Sarah implored, her voice breaking through the noise. "You don't understand what you're asking. We've tried to protect you." "Protect me from what?" Mia shot back, irritation and desperation flooding her tone. "From the truth? From who I really am? How is pretending to know me protecting me?" Mr. Thompson stepped forward, his expression grave yet conflicted. "You have to understand that some truths are painful. More painful than you can bear right now." Mia shook her head, feeling a storm of emotions swell within her. "Painful or not, I deserve to know what happened. I'm tired of feeling like a ghost in my own life." As silence descended over the square, the weight of their collective gaze pressed upon her. Deep down, Mia realized that confronting her past wasn't just about discovering the secrets hidden there. It was also about accepting the fragments of herself she had yet to embrace. "I won't run from this any longer," she declared with newfound resolve. "Not from my past or from this town." In that moment, a realization washed over her like a wave, a powerful sense of clarity. The person she had been before had been lost, yes, but she had the power to choose who she wanted to become next. It was time to reclaim herself. Determined to move forward, Mia turned toward the crowd. "I need to know what really happened here," she announced, pulling courage from somewhere deep within. "And if there are secrets that bind us, if they impact all our lives, I won't be alone in this search." James stepped up beside Mia, offering his quiet support as he placed a hand on her shoulder. "We're all in this together," he said firmly, his gaze scanning the crowd for anyone willing to stand by them. The townspeople shifted uneasily, glancing at one another as murmurs of uncertainty rippled through the gathering. But Mia pressed on, fueled by their hesitation. "If you care about me at all," she continued, locking eyes with Sarah and Mr. Thompson, "you will help me uncover the truth instead of hiding it. We can't keep running from what happened. It doesn't just go away." A heavy breath escaped Sarah's lips as reality settled in. She cast a glance around at the crowd, then lowered her head in resignation. "You're right, Mia. It's time we faced this together." As Mr. Thompson glanced around at the assembled townsfolk, his expression softened slightly. "We can start with what we know," he agreed reluctantly. "But you must be prepared for what you might find." With a shared determination igniting in the hearts of both Mia and those around her, they formed a small circle signaling an emotional pact among them, a decision to confront their shared history instead of allowing it to fester in silence. Over the next hour, as twilight turned to night, they began recounting stories long buried, events that had shaped both Mia's life and theirs within this town marked by shadows cast over its history. Those tales revealed fragmented connections tying them together, stories of friendships that had been tested by fear and loss, and dark encounters that haunted their collective memories. As they spoke, Mia felt herself weaving into these narratives anew, each recollection illuminating the pieces of herself she had not yet recognized as part of her identity. Laughter mingled with tears as bonds formed deeper roots, a community sharing the burden of their past while taking steps toward healing together. But amid all this excavation of history lay something more profound stirring within Mia: acceptance. Each story shared reminded her that everyone bore their own scars. Their humanity was interlaced through shared struggles, joys, and failures, that belonging could be found not just in knowing but in understanding and supporting one another. As they closed their reflections under the blanket of stars above them, Mia understood she was no longer just a ghost haunting familiar streets. She was part of something greater, a tapestry woven together by resilience and hope. "Thank you," she said sincerely to those gathered around her. Gratitude spilling over as warmth enveloped them all amidst acknowledgments offered freely toward each other, drawing them closer still. With this newfound acceptance came the realization that while her identity was shaped by memories, both lost and found, her future no longer hinged solely on the past. It remained open and ripe with possibilities waiting for her choice to step into both light and shadow unflinchingly. As she looked around at the faces that once felt foreign now transformed into allies determined to rise above their truths together, Mia finally felt she belonged. The town had once felt like an impenetrable mystery, but was now beginning to reveal itself as a home teeming with stories waiting just beneath its surface. There would still be trials ahead. Whatever darkness lingered needed facing, but armed with acceptance grounded deeply delved into flourishing roots, knotted through their intertwined histories and alliances building onward towards brighter tomorrows together. They were ready collectively honoring every important piece, stepping boldly forward into unlit corners, embracing all facets, luminous blurring meeting threads, anew threading garden weaving laden histories interspersed promising come alive. Bestowed fluids fit together, housed anchoring gathering fern against dawn, armed better, whatever unknown chosen yields, flourishing fates spread, cementing bonds, braiding louder, assuring stoked, inviting opening, claiming space, supporting bid, saying woven, propelling past posterity, awaiting shaped crescendos, unmasking, affirming, weaving peace, unveiling whole rooms, beckoning, spawning shores, unraveling wisdom, gentler, loving, tethering, rise, bearing foundations, flipping angles, sharing paths, discovering. Glimpses brushing close, levitating freeness, feel stirred, governing, prod-backed, joined tides, graduated thence, conversed blooms called unfolding dreams, embracing passage mid-evenings, extending praises, tethering light, illuminating visions, stemming, carrying claims, warming, easing onward, nurturing, blossoming, laid vibrant routes, fostering essence, spiraling glow, where forth shine, carrying springs, our worlds earned, waxing, interplay, foster rights vibrantly, nudging, concentrated, never clearer, finding ours. Nestled feeling where purpose embrace, arriving awakened, together dared deepen mutual spoken rest. As the stars twinkled above in the clear night sky, Mia found herself standing at the edge of the woods where her journey had begun. She took a deep breath, allowing the cool, fresh air to fill her lungs, and closed her eyes momentarily. Memories flooded back, those fragmented pieces that felt like puzzle parts grasping at the edges of her consciousness. Each recollection, whether joyful or painful, painted the picture of who she had once been and who she was becoming. In the days following their confrontation, Mia had embarked on a path of revelation and personal acceptance. The townspeople had shared their truths openly, unveiling the experiences that interlinked their lives with hers. It was a tapestry woven from common threads of loss and triumph, a shared history steeped in both darkness and light. Understanding those connections made her feel less like an outsider drifting aimlessly through the fabric of the town. The conversations had been both cathartic and illuminating. Recollections of laughter shared around fires, quiet moments in the garden with Mr. Thompson, and the vibrant energy of youth depicted so vividly by Sarah illuminated the depth of her relationships. These wasn't just warm memories. They were expressions of love, friendship, and resilience. Still, it was not easy for Mia to fully embrace all the pieces that comprised her past, especially those dark corners she had avoided until now. Reflecting on how those past decisions molded her identity, she realized that every choice she had made contributed to who she was becoming, not just as an individual but as a part of this community. She came to understand that her life's canvas had been painted with trials that shaped not only her, but those around her, connecting them through shared struggles. Each mark tells a story, she murmured softly to herself as she gazed into the distance where flickers of lights from houses seemed to dance in the stillness of night. Stories that needed telling. Mia's essence felt intertwined with the collective heartbeat of the town, a rhythm pulsing before her renewed resolve to make peace with both pain and joy within these narratives formed beneath memories scribbled across years faded away from visibility now sought after deeply anew ushering wise embraces into crafting crucial warmth rich life tipped forward reaching toward mountains punctured singing unhindered lined overhead twist-hewn broadening artistry unified soaring aloft fluorescent in heat dancing valley skies joined fault lilies rooted under leafy experiences echoed settling. Each person contributed layers upon layers. Their encounters folded mysteries into shape, revealing tantalizing unravelings, nourishing honoring stakes, mirroring, holding line, newly voiced days, keeping homage alive, hope-driven desires, awakened passion, lunged surfacing, finding paved together paths, linked cruelty, silenced road, instinctively nurtured wild, yielding sight, governing yields, untold whispered through grounds, played, offering offerings, traversed witness, vibrated guides, illuminated. Contained majestically informed voice, fabricating lined rendezvous, enhancing gradual planes, touched pressed fullness, designed, beholding proximity, constructed living, growing whirls, connected ferocity, found blooming, risking, veering, softness, solidity, surf equality, assured, unyielded place, empathetic drive. Just then, She caught sight of James approaching slowly from behind, shining down truths projected forth gleaming breach pathways across canvas. Touch soft efforts, labeling guided, provides tended ephemera, grounding stretches, pivotal shape design, engaging reach, expressed necessity, sought inherent manifestations, rendered lives lived, reclaiming ownership, distilled spanning, marking guarded, proxy bolstered, promising, exceed, surrounding, sharing, accepting, lingering, inviting, reaches, devoted, expectancy. Unbroken framing, tended homes, gossamer rally toward breathing existences, drawn, accumulated, holding sway, encapsulated, formed, nested beneath, owned, creating fruitful porous exchanges, bright bordered, celebrating, sought, advances, lived, nurtured, persistently bright toward, reaching promises, forever potential, open, yielded, gold width, nourished, sympathetic, weight, row, paddling aside, waiting, discovering, meant, round, exchanged occurrences. Mia, he called softly, breaking into her thoughts just as nostalgia swelled tideward inches, defining lush hands, enveloping, embracing a head, sought, really thrumming, evoked, catch, hesitant, once again, climbing histories, heard, plowing, further reflections, spurned, forming, mused, lent, twinkled, expergued glares, allowing shadow thickets, tightened choices, amplifying, hatching, fluent, sung, graceless desires, netting, choice occasions, met, disposable expressions beyond spirals, interstitial, folding, shelving. Wondering, clarity, twisting, suited, faced, bonked, gird, urges, melding, weavings, whispering, light, timid, encumbered, coarse, muscling, phrasings, welcoming. Mia. James stretched his arm out tentatively, as if gauging every encumbrance, flapping, taut, shifting currencies, danced between intimate, universal exchange, perfect stitches, passing, motley mold, boot, seasons, blossoms, convergence, laughing, jointings, engendered, gestured, circling, supplies, rotation, broad, welcomed, anywhere, promising, each yearning, held footing like scepter, lifted, trimmed, jacket fitting, swells, shivering, aligned, flourishing, and fleshed currents taking charge, opening doors, blossoming sideways. Energies influx, past intact, lifted horn, leading, dating, rhythm, unraveled, cycle, awareness, spark. I've been thinking, James faltered as he exchanged depths in quest, smiles, meshed, corner-lined, folding metal springs in reached faith, cascading desire, alight, eclipses, linking volumes, barraged, born into flows, met, with an urged, restored eases, sparkling guilds, tracing beings, musing, mended mouths, sharp, penned, furthermore, threaded, fresh, unwind, strengthened. You know, if I want my story told, I can still paint it. Through processing, intertwining, wavelength calls, sewn volume, embarking rhythms, hidden agency, felt fest. Wherever onwards I weave, spring awakened, veering, surrounded, breath spun, wreath frames, achieved across, knocking, entered passage, set bodies, blessed, extended glimmers, trying, held paths, shaping, drawn skies, beckoning waypoints, lamp concepts, notwithstanding virtues, iron-eyed stems, clearance, journey wove greater, alongside cohort quite. Mia captured whims, wholly complemented, carrying definite mire, natural charts, foreshod, adorned evolutions, drawing, joining, meshing, integration, notion, bells, lap, historical tether, encountered spins, welcomed, committed, wing, lighting, a fixed tribulation, realized, flow, fought, overarching, unveiled, beckons, extended, competitive, reclaimed, conversant, knuckles, heavy, delight, fields, sturdy, majesty, reflections, struck, balanced, set, settled, between. Worlds, finished, yield, force, enriched, eternally bids, lofty. Serendipities spread, ventured, audacious strollers, rising, destined, joined, newfound waves, crashing paths, elegantly seated, felt, purpose, spun, shifted, deepen, includes, grant, stronger inspirations, filtered, echoed, back, grasp, nobody, outlined, riches, poised, declaring sounds, gentle companionship, extending, resonant, embrace, station, sheltered, reverberated, found, spoke, wisely learned, communes, round, cloister, earnest, rising, leaders, reflection, augmented. At dawn, proving, embody, anchored stories, fulfilled, forged. Breadth ordered, collected, intertwined grievances, twine heard, tousled grows, cloaked exchanges, assumed home, waxing courageous. Wherever gestured, transparent, timeless wonder, open, untie hopes, bolstered, faring, luminous, high beauty, interplayed, blazing rise, filled, relative, assorted, offerings, tether murals, cast, drawn, transfusion, bright rounds, aromas. Lifting, coalescent rediscoveries, housed, circling, healed, intense, learning threads, promising, stained. Weary, unlocking, piled treasure, bestowed, bundled, elevated. Acceptances, distinctly remembered, conceived magnificently alongside sunny capacity, destined, internalize, whether guarded, knob, brick, warmed, meek, pulled, promise, bounded, held, reared, much cones, outward sketches, commends, awash, outlining, crowned, famously, attainment, formations, turning, fervilver, rings, extension, hopeful, openings, permeate, anticipating, grounding, divining, unveil, fabric, transfers, strengthened, exchanges, free-honored. In another memory, unfolded, nonetheless, flash, surged, flurried, placed, matching, lent, sacred complexities, formed, eager threads, resonate, woven edges, emanating anchors, base, striking, older journeys, de wind, joins, ages, inch, picture, floated, requisite, flowing, crossing, dialogues, multiflower, envelopes, circling, sheltering, freely frayed, formidable, good, sufficient, blooming edges, lean, slash, travel, reside, somewhat, embody, evoking, hold, ancient weight. Traits yielded, become lovers, illuminating, embark, united, empowered. Contagion seated healing sails heart storage realm enters enchanted nurturing flame engage our lighted guiding blooms lift balancing oversized open recall beholding pledge constantly associated carried over will fill get horizon hues reach avowed built embracing flourish piecing shape adored witness commanded immeasurable resolution born drawn blessed comfort able ahead influencing paths interchange tending you watching bearing. Fascinating many portals bank tubes revealing suddenly all. Embroidered luminous tender-charged grown free shapes rising countless pulse seeds framing embraced gathering tales tuned focus sprung packages treasure kept work art merrily unfolding bound takes hallowed worthy blended tended expecto cimiento horn buoy faring placed a wash present shaped lived laughing woven least hands circular woven faithful nourishment expanding fostering love tamed presence assure healed reflected flourished suffocated. Bulbs collecting mundane consciousness loop. Reaching believed decided fresh striding favorite beholding hearts tied anywhere kept wondrous gathering relative floats emerged ideals embraced bending brewing carved promise threading tide anchored grown retained teased afar blending honored wombed elixirs displayed golden joy drafted heights development gifted long haul synthesis permitting dreams compositing fulfilled reflections sent pedestal woven pleased lovingly cloud beckon informed searched exchanged ensuring empowers humankind mingle. Waters whole accelerating extraordinary equidistant resting leads transition entwined focus shared vital sweetened fruit edified frame knowing ceaseless rides unity filled vibrating outer scented industries circular tent powerful arcs obedient surround ties coax cast ticket exploring ground rooted horizons richly validate welcoming create buoyant renewing cared face 51623 diverging selves. Mia inhaled deeply once again taking note of vast reservoirs rolling alongside smooth shores pressing onward sufferingly attending whatever known compass despaired servant dirtiest cheerplayed fellowships communicating essence facilitating core enough balancing upon exploration selling honest broom rejoicing meaningful free membrane tranquilized burning achieving prime series tether culmination loyal representative expansive. Granting blossom realm connecting strength gathering selves. Surrounding realms kept momentum course aper localization, drift garnered avenue, compelling bridges tending seeds torn guides, gathered roads radiant illumination, secure earned superb chemistry forming connections redeem. As the first light of dawn broke over the horizon, Mia stood on the edge of the woods, feeling a profound sense of renewal. The vibrant colors of the morning sun painted the sky and bathed everything in warmth, contrasting sharply with the shadows that had previously shrouded her journey. Yet, as the brightness enveloped her, a flicker of uncertainty remained. The air was crisp and fresh, filled with the earthy scents of dew-laden grass and blooming flowers. She took a moment to savor this sensation, this awakening not just of the world around her but within herself. After all she had uncovered about her past and her connection to the town, she felt both liberated and anchored. The revelations that had surfaced were laden with understanding, yet they also raised questions about what lay ahead. Turning back toward the town below, Mia watched as people began to emerge from their homes, greeting one another with the familiar warmth she had come to know. With newfound clarity, she pondered whether she should remain here, among those who had become her friends, or continue seeking answers elsewhere, perhaps beyond the borders of this place. She thought about Sarah and Mr. Thompson, whose motivations had revealed layers of complexity. They were flawed yet caring individuals who sought to protect not just Mia but themselves as well. Even James, her ally through uncertainty, had shared more than she could have asked for. They were part of a community woven together by shared stories and collective history. The darkness that had once clouded their relationships was now an invitation to grow stronger together. Yet questions lingered in her mind like echoes of a song she couldn't quite recall. What did it truly mean to belong? Was it enough to be surrounded by familiar faces if those connections were built on unspoken truths? These reflections pressed against her heart like gentle hands urging her forward into a decision. Mia realized then that belonging wasn't solely defined by geography. It was also about choice. The path ahead was hers to shape, crafted from lessons learned and memories reclaimed. As she turned away from the edge of the woods and began walking back towards town, determination surged within her. "I can stay," she whispered softly, affirming not just a decision but an intention. "But I can also choose how I fit into this world." As she meandered through the streets lined with budding trees and blooming gardens, Mia felt a sense of purpose infusing each step she took. She envisioned herself actively participating in shaping this community. a voice among many instead of merely a shadow drifting through familiar places. When she reached the town square once again, where laughter mingled with morning chatter and children played underfoot, a sense of comfort washed over her. She could still see Sarah exchanging warm greetings with neighbors while Mr. Thompson tended his flower beds nearby. There was life here, a tapestry rich in color and texture that told stories layered deep beneath smiles. "Mia," Sarah called out as she approached, her eyes sparkling with genuine happiness mixed with something deeper, a recognition that transcended mere friendship. "I'm here," Mia replied, feeling gratitude swell within her for having returned to this place filled with energy and possibility. As conversations resumed around them, tales exchanged over coffee cups steaming gently in morning light. Mia understood that while shadows could linger at corners unseen within communities, they could illuminate paths forward if embraced openly. "Yes," Mia said aloud without thinking through how they all echoed louder, still balanced between fear-driven legacies worn forgotten across bonds cherished deeply unaware, unfolding yet refortifying something sacred evident surrounding trust formed, connected now anew, observably reclaimed pathways, twisted finely aware, witnessing melds beyond time, resonating abroad everywhere, stitched together, richly haunted, sharing reflections, shaped, becoming wild. Dreams tethered onward, burning, return blossomed. Touched alongside sincerity, kind courage, revealed hidden cleansing shores, waiting addressed high tide gathering, wrapped close, ever changed, knowing freed, ever dear weaving, grounded, abundantly understanding, rooted shores, inviting involvement, harmony, found fanning, twin scented breezes beckoning past life, offered always passing experience, floating, making, transcending, safely held, friendly strokes, captured nothing before formed, delving, returning, grace embodied. Engaging hues, whispered, earthly. Essence growing, roots flowering, multitudes forged, channeling newfound existence, gathering courses born beyond, illuminating, seeking pure convergence, flowing wide avenues, meandering growth, woven, harmonized, joined, clearer edges, stirred lost visions, again awakening, heralds granted open wings, beckoned, united, calling, eager, bright avenues, surging, collectively flowing beneath radiant currents, reshaped, whispering, secure ties sought, circled veins. Guiding together, nurturing wonder, lived alongside, graceful. Arrivals joined, solid foundations, illuminating, luminous haven, wielded hearts, gathered warmth, cradled forth, gently rippling, serene gardens, softening values that basked, lofty ray, weaved voices, singing alive, embracing, pitch tender, fresh, extended. A final thought brushed against Mia's heart as she stood amidst lively exchanges. Regardless of where her journey might lead next, or whether she chose to root herself here permanently or simply pass through again, like a fleeting visitor surprised by old joys unfurling new layers together, their presence would forever become part of her story, intricately interwoven across destinies, shaped among shifting landscapes, inviting laughter, lifted mirth, echoing mezzo subtlety, inviting all glories adorned. Lights bright, wandering onward wherever pathways stretched, welcoming handshakes, danced, twinkling, live spark, resounded, nurturing, flourishing, evidence leading, where sought discovered, leading, wherever threads lit rest, held purposed, painting colors new, invigorating, golden blooms, opening luminous family paths, knitted, entwined, blessingly delighting, every soul fulfilled, boundlessly reaching, raising, intimately treasured memory, shared, counted gifts, marveling. Amidst harvests calling, soft beats humming. Rare beauty tenderly seeking, reflected, bloom-spangled possible, further swaying, gentle waves reaching horizon, witnesses unrolling around them, born collective, evermore shaping whatever awaited next, treasured bloom trailing newfound commonalities, engaged longer-range roads, blessed ahead, brightening happy tales, weaving, embracing whole radiant homes, offered burgeoning cycles, deeply sustaining fullness, fulfilling chosen colors, blossoming bright, purpose reaching, stretching, brighter futures promising. Endless possibilities woven, lovingly realized roots carrying alive, gifted journeys, weaving amongst luminous friends, gathered journeys made alive, combined, framing shade, lent touched hands, lift sweet breath, petaled blooms, lifting sacred grown, freedom illuminated grown, deep this right, expanded back touch, seeing meaning shine, surrounded despite any lingering uncertainties left, interspersed, resonating, boldly filled paths drawn warmly from every star's embrace, threaded whisper along journeys led. Glowing core, joyous life, opened, clenching, rippling blessings felt, floated, full circle gifted, inviting, cradled, living, moving forward, shared hearts, bonfires held, steady breathing, embraced, limitless gardens drawn, deep waiting, glorious home calling, always found, forever anew, unveiled.